1,500 years ago, beyond the last mapped roads and far from any kingdom, there was a small village hidden between stone hills and pine forests. The people lived quiet lives, farming, praying, and burying their dead with care. Every child born there was taught one rule before they learned to read. No one may die outside the village land. If it happened, the dead would not rest. So each person, while still strong and breathing, dug their own grave near the old trees, a narrow hole marked with a stone and a name. It was not seen as cruel, only necessary. The elders said the land was cursed long before their time, and this was the price for staying alive. Many laughed at the rule, but none dared break it. Travelers were warned never to stay the night. Animals avoided the place. On cold evenings, the wind carried sounds that did not belong to the living. Among the villagers was a man named Errol, a hunter, quiet and proud. He knew the rule, knew the stories, and still believed they were fear passed down like bad blood. One morning, chasing a wounded deer, Errol crossed the stone markers that defined the village land. He kept going, farther than anyone had in years, climbing into the mountains where the air grew thin and the ground turned sharp. He did not know that with every step away, the curse was waking, waiting for him to fall. High in the mountains, the deer vanished, and silence took its place. Errol slipped on loose stone, his body crashing down the slope, bones breaking as he fell into a narrow ravine. No one heard his final breath. By nightfall, searchers found him twisted and lifeless, far beyond the village border. Fear spread fast. The elders argued, voices shaking, knowing what had to be done. They carried his body back, wrapped him in white cloth, and laid him beside the grave he had dug years before. Blood seeped through the cloth, staining it dark, as if the land itself refused to let him rest. Prayers were spoken, dirt was thrown, tears fell. When the burial was finished, the crowd stood in silence, thinking it was over. Then the cloth moved. Slowly, Errol's body rose, his neck bent at an impossible angle, his eyes empty, his mouth open but silent. He stood fully, blood dripping onto the white wrap, and without looking at anyone, he turned and ran. Not away from the village, but toward it. His legs moved fast and stiff, like a broken thing forced to live. Screams tore through the crowd. Some collapsed instantly, hearts failing under pure terror. Others froze, unable to breathe, watching a dead man flee his own funeral, obeying a rule older than memory. Errol ran through the forest as if pulled by an unseen force, branches tearing at the white cloth, blood marking his path. Those who followed from a distance swore he did not stumble, even over roots and stone. The village gates were open, and he passed through them just before dawn, disappearing between the houses. By sunrise, his body was found again, this time inside his grave, lying flat, hands crossed, face calm, as if nothing had happened. No one could explain how he returned without sound or struggle. The elders gathered the survivors and finally spoke the truth they had hidden for generations. Long ago, the village was built on land where the dead were denied rest, and the curse demanded balance. Any soul that died beyond the border would be dragged back, walking or running, until the land reclaimed it. Errol had not risen by choice, he was summoned. From that day on, the rule was no longer whispered, it was enforced. Paths were blocked, borders were marked in stone, the graves were dug deeper. At night, no one slept easily, because some swore they still heard footsteps running through the dark, always moving toward home, never away. Years passed, and the village grew smaller as fear replaced curiosity. Children were no longer taught why the rule existed, only that breaking it meant horror beyond death. Travelers who ignored warnings sometimes vanished, and on certain nights, the ground near the graves looked freshly disturbed. The elders died one by one, taking secrets with them, but the curse remained, patient and unchanged. The village stopped appearing on maps. Then one winter, the border stones were found cracked, as if something beneath the land was shifting. No one waited to see what would rise next. The remaining villagers fled before dawn, leaving homes, graves, and names behind. By morning, the place was empty. Today, the forest covers the ruins, and no road leads there. But hunters still tell one story in low voices. If you die far from where you belong, your body will find its way back. And if you ever see a figure wrapped in white, running without breath toward a place long forgotten, do not follow it, because some curses do not end with death.